Wine appears in the book of Genesis 5 times. What does the author do with this theme? Hi, my name is Pete, and in 2024 I'm reading the whole Bible in its original languages, Hebrew, Aramaic and Greek. I'm using a reading plan that I wrote myself, which is available in an ebook I've released for free. Today I read Genesis 19, which is the famous story of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, followed by Lot's wife turning into a pillar of salt because she looks back at the destruction of the city. After Lot's wife turns to salt, he lives in the mountains with his daughters. Family prospects did not look good, and so the daughters get Lot drunk and then lie with him in the night to get pregnant. Lot's daughters get him drunk on wine. The Hebrew word is yayin, which is actually etymologically related to the English word wine. In ancient Canaanite, the word would have originally been wayin, but in a period of the Hebrew language, before the writing of the Bible, initial w became y, so wayin became yayin. The word yayin occurs in Genesis in 5 places. Noah getting drunk in chapter 9, Melchizedek king of Salem serving Abraham bread and wine in chapter 14, Lot getting drunk here in chapter 19, as part of the meal that Jacob used to deceive his father Isaac in chapter 27, and Judah is described as washing his garments in wine and having eyes as being dark as wine in the blessing of him in chapter 49. In the meal with Melchizedek and the blessing of Judah, wine probably represents wealth. But in the cases of Noah, Lot and Isaac, wine is drunk in the context of some sort of close family betrayal. Ham saw his father's nakedness and spoke about it to his brothers. Lot's daughters got him drunk and committed incest while he slept. Jacob deceived his father with a fine meal into believing that he was his eldest son, Esau. So wine in Genesis is clearly a theme, but how are we supposed to understand this theme? One temptation is to build theological inferences and structures, such as suggesting that a theme of Genesis is that wine leads to betrayal. However, I think that's overcooking the text. Wine is also mentioned in positive context in Genesis, in the story of Melchizedek and in the blessing of Jacob. So while of course the stories of Noah, Lot and Jacob offer an example of wine being used badly, they don't show that the Genesis author or editor had an exclusively negative view of wine. Instead, I think the reason that wine appears in the 3 stories of Noah, Lot and Jacob is as a writing technique, combined with other things, to draw the reader's attention to the connections between these stories. It's part of what a linguist might call pragmatic activation. That's activating, bringing to the front of your mind something you already know. Before it became popular for biblical scholars to use very linguistic technical language like this though, people would talk about this very kind of story technique with words like evoking or echoing the earlier stories. So why does the author or editor of Genesis build a connection between the incidents of Noah, Lot and Jacob? Well, one of the biggest themes of Genesis is this: families go wrong. That's part of life. It's part of the lived experience we have as human beings made in God's image, but affected by the sin of Adam. In all 3 stories, the incident has some impact on the future. Canonically, one's mind is drawn to the 4th commandment: honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Which implies that if we betray our parents, there will be some consequences in this life. And here are the results. Noah curses Canaan. Lot's progeny is continued by incest, and Moab and Ammon end up enemies of God's people. Jacob does get Isaac's blessing, but at the cost of his family relationships. Trouble follows him his whole life, until after this, in his old age, he says to Pharaoh in Genesis chapter 24 verse 9, "Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life." While wine is common to each of these 3 negative incidents involving Noah, Lot and Isaac, wine itself probably isn't the problem for the Genesis author or editor, as it appears positively in the meal with Melchizedek and the blessing of Judah. Wine functions as a tool to activate the reader's thoughts of these incidents of family betrayal in Genesis, linking the stories together, warning the reader not to betray family, and to remember the commandment to honour your father and your mother. At least that's my understanding of wine in Genesis 19 as I read and thought about that chapter today. If you want to read the rest of the Bible with me in 2024 in the original languages, then details on my Bible reading plan and EPUB reader, which is free to download and use, can be found in the description below. And if you like the video, please like the video. And if you want to get video updates of my whole Bible read through in the original languages in 2024, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.